Aloha, everyone. Thank you for joining us. The Sacred Convo is back.
Woohoo!
Uniting Mexico and Greece, the rest of the world. Yeah, Lydia in the house.
I'm so excited to see you.
Me too. I'm super excited. I feel it's just, I'm talking with my girl. We're connecting our living rooms. It's perfect. It's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's so good. How have you been? How is everything?
I've been really good, very busy with a lot of like work, physical, and other projects, but generally good. Very intense and powerful times, I think. And how about you?
Glad to hear. Yeah, me too, actually. A lot of growth going on internally, physically. Not that I'm growing mustache, no, it's I'm growing my fitness lately and my health game is back. And I come to the realization that right now for all of us, we are co-witnessing so many different parallel realities. That's why asking somebody like, how are you, is for me always not a given. So I really want to see which reality they're in. And
Exactly.
yeah, I think this would be also a great theme for our convo today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this brings me back to this realization that, sometimes I tend to forget, and we all tend to forget. I think that it's not about what is going on, is what is our reaction going to be. I've seen myself,
Mhm.
something that happened some time ago that got me, very frustrated or triggered, and then another time, because I was more aligned and more in peace inside myself, the same thing happened, and I just reacted so differently. And I think it's all about this, that our responsibility is our responsibility. How can we respond to things? So there is a situation going on in the planet which, has also many layers, and we can choose how we want to experience this. It's up to us, the way we will end up feeling about it, and what we can learn about it, and what we can like gain as a gift. What do you think about that?
I wholeheartedly agree, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's people listening to us right now. And thank you, by the way, everybody who is granting us with your time and with your accessibility. Um, that that all sounds amazing, to be able to say, I'm going to choose which kind of reality I'm going to experience here with everything going on. However, I do want to acknowledge that there's people out there who may not know how they actually can do that in their everyday life. And right now, especially with what I coin to be the big reset. I'm not coining it anywhere else. It's the big reset that is happening worldwide. So what do you think? What could you recommend your past self, for example? Let's take it from us, right? The past self. What would you tell the past Lydia, the times when she didn't know that she could choose, she could design her experience and her reality?
Yeah, that's a lovely question. And I think very valuable, because if I think about it, I think I could have avoided myself a lot of suffering in my past, if I knew some of the things that I know today. And of course, I still get many times that I get triggered, I get frustrated, I get depressed. Like, we're all human. I think the point on that is not to stay there too long, is to acknowledge our feelings, our anger, our frustration, or whatever it is, and then start to alchemize it and transform it, and not stay there for hours or days or months sometimes, because I used to be that person, and sometimes it was very difficult for me to get myself out of there. So what I wanted to say, there are a few tools that I would like to tell my younger self, and I will share them. But I think the first thing that I would like to share with everyone listening right now, because it applies a lot to the situation we're currently going, is stop listening to the news all day. Stop this mainstream media, stop this TV all day. If you are like linked on that thing, it's so destructive. Like, please trust me on that. please get informed. Trust some way of your information. Go online for, I don't know, 5 minutes a day max, you know, in some website that you choose, either it's from the government or not, but don't stay there hooked on that thing all day. There is a friend of mine that says CNN stands for constant negative news. I agree with that. I think it's very clever. So please stay away from that, and try to feed yourself. Get informed. I'm not saying don't get informed if that's important for you, but don't stay hooked on that frequency all day. That really gets through to us. I see it also in myself that I don't even own a TV since more than 15 years. But even through social media or whatever, I still get, you know, absorbed a lot in this thing. And it's very easy to get lost. So if you want to leave a space for you to experience a current circumstance in another way, we have to disengage from this mainstream constant negativity and terrorism. So a way to balance that out, and there is a way to balance that out, is to see positive news. And there are always positive things going around the world. So I would like to share 2 things, and I'm inviting you also to share, if you have a few things, what is going on right now that can be very beneficial. So I have a few things that really excite me. So one is that Nassim Haramein's course, which for you that you don't know, he's the one that has unified physics from the microscale to the macrocosm, and he has solved all the problems we have had in physics until now, and, you know, mixing it with spirituality and sacred geometry. So check it out. He had an amazing course with 6 modules explaining all his theory and applications, and he gave this for free. So everybody that you are guys in your house and you want to expand your knowledge, you don't need to be a scientist to go for this course. You just need to give some space for some new understandings. So that's, I think, something beautiful. Right now they're offering every Wednesday like a live that they explain every module. Tomorrow will be, Wednesday will be module 3, but you can catch up with 2 previous recordings, or you can go, you know, and check the modules by yourself at your pace, you know, without live recordings. But the point is that people are going into compassion, and they're thinking, how can I be more of service? Okay, I will give my course for free. And the same happened with HeartMath Institute. Amazing scientists, compassionate scientists that know how to measure your heart coherence and can teach you basically how to bring in tune and in harmony your brain waves and your heart waves. And when we do that, actually happen a lot of things, happens healing in the body, happens beautiful communication between the heart and the brain, and we trigger our intuition. These are measured, you know, in a scientific way. And also the more we do that and the more we emit that field of coherence, they have measured that if people do that globally, we have more peace in the world. So I would like to share these 2 amazing positive news of this time that are also tools for you to get out of this reality and switch to other ways to like experience what we're currently going through.
Beautifully shared. Thank you. This is truly amazing. There's so many gifts to receive, actually, right? What you reminded me of when mentioning the term television, it's, if you break it down, it's nothing else than tell a vision. It's a vision we're being told. But guess what? If you go outside on the street and talk to a bird, he'll tell you a whole different vision. He'll tell you the vision of how many trees he touched upon, you know, like gazing with his open wings, or like the cliff he's like flew around. If you talk to a dog, he'll tell you about this amazing sandwich he ate. If you talk to a child, he'll tell you a different vision. That's what we mean when we say there's different realities going on. Break it down very simply. You go and watch a film, okay, in the theaters. The theater is packed. It's like 300 people, every single one, some with their nachos, some with their popcorn. Everyone is watching the same thing going on. And guess what? When they come out and you would go to ask a survey to these people, like, hey, what do you take from this film that was just emitted? Everyone will tell you a different vision, a different story, right? So if it happens in your everyday life and you can relate, imagine how bigger and how much more literal you can actually take that understanding of you are living your own reality. And if you don't like it, if it creates too much friction, maybe it's your soul's way of telling you, hey girl, hey dude, something is not right here, something is not in alignment, check yourself. Press pause on the world outside of you, check in, let it be through singing, dancing, meditation, just taking a beautiful shower, cleansing your energy, eating something really worthwhile. There's so many different ways. I'm not saying meditation is the only way. It did work for me, but there's so many other ways, right? And that's what we mean by television is only prevailing one certain vision. But as Lydia so beautifully said, there's unfathomable amounts of visions going on right now. And hence, we can all co-create to see how will I respond to that big thing that is going on in the world right now? Can I see it from a reactionary side of like, oh my God, that and that and that and that is happening to me, and focus on the scarcity and focusing on the neglect and the pain and the trauma? Or can I start seeing the blessings and the lessons that come through with everything that is happening? Like free online courses, for example, right? Or people smiling to each other on the street. That's like my takeaway these days. I go walk around the street. I have never in my life, this lifetime, witnessed so many people just saluting and acknowledging each other as they pass the street, saying hi, or just smiling because they're present. They're not running away anymore of deadlines and pressured from work and all that. They are present. And since the physical right now is a bit challenged, they take it to the more emotional, the more magnetic. And that's one of the takeaways. I feel there's a blessing right now for that. And the other part is that, let me think, what is another worthwhile experience to me during this reset? Oh yeah, of course, big one. There are so many people sharing with me like mind-boggling aha moments of their life realization, and in terms of choices they made in their life before the big reset, choices they want to make now that they reflected, now that they thought, now that they reconsidered their life choices. There's so many people that come out of this during current phase super empowered of like to finally walk their path. If that is not something, I don't know what is. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, truly amazing things are happening. I think it's a time that we are like on the edge of a cliff, and we are really asked to move ahead, you know, and it's time to fly. It's time to disengage from anything heavy, everything that doesn't function for us anymore, anything that is not beneficial, first of all, inside of us. Because I think what we're seeing in the planet right now is that things that are not beneficial for us are becoming even more clear in a global scale, you know. For example, right now, people, I think, are more and more realizing that, you know, people in very important places of power, you know, like Bill Gates or other people, you know, maybe they're not the philanthropists that we all thought, you know, that they're so beneficial for the planet. And for example, right now in his Instagram page, because of all these new policies that he's like interested to put everywhere, he's literally like in a war, you know. In his Instagram page the other day, on one post, there was 36,000 like negative comments, like, we see you, you're not going to go through this, you know, we have the power. Like, it's like incredible. So on the one hand, I am happy about this, not for the person called Bill Gates, but for what he represents, that needs to be transformed in a global scale. And that shows me also something else, that, you know, these people that rule the planet, they are 100, you know, a few hundred or a few thousand, I don't know how many, but the whole planet is 7 billion. So if we don't want something, we have the power to change it. The only thing that we need is that we stand together. The only thing we need is that we are unified. So through this crisis, it's an incredible choice we can make and an opportunity to get together. Even if we disagree, there is no reason to make a war if this COVID virus is true or if it's not, what's the agenda. Everybody has their own opinion. There is a lot of data showing different things, but the point is, what do we want through all that? Do we want like tyranny? Do we want like dictatorship? Do we want to get chipped and vaccinated and other people deciding what is going to go inside our bodies? And if we don't, then we have 7 billion people power that can change that very clearly. And I think also in another level, it's a good point to think what is going on right now in this planet, how it relates to us. Because I think in an energy level, everything that we live as humanity is also like a holographic projection. So I think somewhere inside of each of us, there is a Trump, there is a Bill Gates, like there is all these archetypes. So if they're out there, somehow we have allowed them to manifest. So in an energy level, you know, let's think about our inner parts and how we relate to people and how we sometimes maybe want to force an opinion on other people, or, you know, what's our inner tyrant doing in terms of our own thoughts and emotions, and how we self-judge and how we are harsh with ourselves. So if these energies are out there, we are part of co-creating them somehow in some level. And that's an amazing realization, because if we are part of that, we can be part of a new reality if we want to manifest a new reality. What's your thoughts about this?
I believe that everything, first of all, let's break it down. To me, and to all that I've been taught from various teachers across the world, everything is consciousness. Everything. Everything is alive. Everything is also in an interrelationship of certain dynamics, right? And just as it was proven that water has consciousness and water is a recipient of what we emit, we have water too. As beautifully as you said, what is our everyday self-talk that we hence then emit around the world? How can I expect to live in a place of abundance and peace if I'm in war with myself? Just as much as not liking my booty, or not liking my stretch marks, or thinking I'm not the dude. All these negative self-talks is making us smaller, is making us disconnect from our power, from our place of alignment, from truly being able to connect with somebody else without projecting any shit on them. And if we were to go this one step further, we are all so powerful that at times we forget how powerful we are by falling into that trap of the illusion that the world outside of us is static and that we are nothing but a recipient of it. It's the egg and the hen question. What came first, the egg or the hen? Well, if the egg came first, then who birthed it? And if out of the egg comes the hen, then wait a second, right? There is no he was, she was at fault. So everything we see in the world that we are strongly not liking, this is an invitation, as you so beautifully said, to look inward and to say, that polarity that I'm seeing out there, that I'm part of, how am I part of it? Only as a bystander and pointing a finger and saying, he's the bad guy. Or actually saying, no. Him being in that position, yeah, I was also co-responsible for that. And that's what I mean to own our own shit. To be super honest with ourselves. And hence not to go at war with a certain figure, but to go to the root of the actual energy that this person is emitting or that we are witnessing and co-contributing to the world, and extract that root that it came from. And usually, to me, in my understanding, that root of the most of the things we strongly dislike in the world is from a place of disconnection. When I feel not connected to all that is, when I feel small and insignificant and very afar, then usually that pain of not being connected makes me feel disconnected from everything else, especially the good things. From my family, from love, from clarity, from the connectivity with my higher self, from the way I regard nature, everything. And once I take that whole narrative and shift it to the side, that I'm actually never disconnected. Also, in the times that I think I'm disconnected, I'm just disconnected. But guess what? That's the energy I'm feeding into our overall coexistence, is that disconnectivity. And so when we go to that root and really look at it and heal that within us, man, that has a butterfly effect I don't think the universe has ever seen.
Wow, so beautifully said. Like every cell of my body has felt this vibration, and I just have goosebumps. So beautiful words and energy. Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, absolutely agree on that. And on top of that, I would like to add that, you know, it's very easy to point fingers, as you said, and saying that, I don't mean that, for example, maybe people like Trump or other politicians or Gates, you know, they're the most connected people and they are working, you know, to make this world a better place, but we don't know. So what I want to say in that aspect is that actually there is no bad and evil. There is no polarization in that level. Basically, we're all part of this game. You know, we're in a game here. We're living in a matrix here, in this dream illusion reality, and we're all part of the game. Like, you know, this agent in the matrix was the anti-Neo, and it was, you know, what needed to happen. So the whole thing was transformed at the end, you know, towards the betterment of all the people that were there. So I feel, okay, let's do our best to stop these people not to manifest, you know, this reality that we don't want. If, you know, humanity doesn't want to get vaccine and microchip. But on the other hand, let's think that these maybe are just forces into this game, into this reality that we're living, that is actually the core pieces of the puzzle that is going to make a revolution, that is going to push humanity out of our comfort zones, because that's what's happening right now. We're pushed out of our comfort zones. And maybe it's like exactly what humanity needed to wake up and say no to this. I don't want to live that, and let's make this place a better world. So it's very easy, as you said, to judge and point fingers and also put labels. Oh, you know, Gates is evil or Trump is this. I mean, at some level, okay, they're maybe not the most beneficial, but we need to see things maybe in a broader scale. And I think in a broader scale, sometimes we are not exactly aware how things work in the big aspect of like the whole planet, and not for us just a little part of this puzzle. So coming back to your question earlier, I think this is something that I would love to have said to my younger self at times of suffering. So that's like, wait a moment, you know, this shit is happening. You're frustrated or, you know, sad or whatever, angry, but you don't know at the end how this is going to work for you. So maybe, okay, go through your pain and leave some space that maybe this is at the end working for you. Maybe this is happening for you and not to you. So just talking to the mind, literally like it's a little child, is a tool that I use sometimes, and I wish I knew it earlier, saying, okay, I hear you. I accept your point of view. and your crazy analysis, because I have a very like intense mind sometimes, and it's not as easy to stop it when I want. So this is something that I've been training myself. So, okay, I listen to you, but I want to give space that it might be another story. So let's not make a catastrophology. Let's not think, you know, a priori that this is the worst thing that has happened to me, because maybe there is some other narrative behind it that I am not aware of, because I cannot see from the top the whole thing. So I think that's a very powerful tool when we're going through these situations, to give space and to be able to talk to our mind, you know, give it like acceptance and also space that there might be another reality. I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, don't believe in everything you think, right? Because guess what? The brain is two sides. So it can only answer in that binary understanding, ones and zeros, yes or no, polarity, it's two sides. And hence, and that's why I feel also so inclined to support everyone to jump on the free bus of the HeartMath Institute that is inviting us to explore the actual intelligence that is in our hearts, which is all about unison. It's about, you know, the simple yin and yang, right? The white and the black. There's a bit of white in the black. There's a bit of black in the white. But then you have this whole. What's happening with the whole? And that is a beautiful symbolism to actually witness. So what you so beautifully said, Lilia, about the wholeness of everything that we usually can only see when we're on top of the mountain, you know, we can actually see that tree that just fell and really blocked your street actually just gave way for a whole different street to go, because behind that tree there would be a pond and you would have fallen in. Like the blessing in disguise, right? But you reminded me so beautifully of this thing anthropologists had called the meditation effect. Meditation effect was conducted, if I'm not mistaken, but please read up on it. I wouldn't take my words for granted, but in a gist, I'm sure I can tell you what actually happened with the meditation effect. So during, I think it was the Gulf War period, end of 80s, there was a team of peacemakers that went into the war zone. But instead of battling the other warriors, which is basically just continuing their language, like fight, and the Martian energy, they sat in a hotel room, and for 7 days straight, they would meditate, but they wouldn't meditate being against something. They wouldn't meditate the war to stop. They would meditate the world without it, aka with peace. And as they were aligning their mindsets, their heart space, their whole being to just exude that vision, for this time onward, in that whole region, hospitals became empty because there was no new victims that needed to be brought in. And that's the so-called meditation effect that has been repeated, same studies, on and on and on. And you can also basically try it out. There's no harm in that. How do you know visualization works? Well, the moment you watch, we go back to the film allegory. I have a background in filmmaking, so that's my go-to. You watch a horror movie, right? And you're super safe in your sofa and the door's locked. You just eat that popcorn and you watch the horror film. Every part of you is trembling. You're like sweating. Your heart rate is going up and you only see something. Or similar as when they started to educate Olympian athletes, you know, like walking down, visualizing the 100-meter pay. They didn't run every time. They envisioned how they were running and their body started to sweat. Their heart rate went up only because of visualization. So ask me again if visualization works. It does work, and so does your whole electromagnetic field. It works so much that even at times when you don't think it works, it actually works. Just like remember the moments when you were sitting in a place and the door would open and there would be a person with an amazing energy coming in. Before he or she would open their mouth, you would feel that energy. So imagine you were to cultivate your energy level consciously all the effects that you could exude.
So beautifully said. Thank you for this. And I can add to that a little bit of science. The work that the HeartMath Institute has done is shown that there is a like immediate link of the frequency we emit, and especially when we go into like a lot of global meditations or synchronizations or extreme times of like war or situations like the 9/11, that the actual Schumann resonance changes. And for people that don't know that, we have the Earth, and here we have the ionosphere, and there is a specific resonance wave that is called the Schumann resonance that is between these two layers. And this has many frequencies. One of them is 7.83, which is one of the main frequencies of our brain frequencies. So they have measured at times of global meditations that the Schumann resonance has an immense spike. So basically, we are interrelated with the earth, and we have the power to change the field around the earth. I mean, if that's not something to empower us, I don't know what is. I have seen the data. I know them personally. I know the devices they have all around the world. They're super scientific and very detailed, and they have tons of publications. Doing all the research, you know, that I did in my PhD, looking at the Earth's fields, I can tell you for sure that we have the power, choosing in which frequency we want to be, to actually transmit that into the field of the Earth. And if we all do it even more, you know, simultaneously, but even just we spend every day a little time to emit peace, to emit health for the planet. That's not just anymore, you know, spiritual techniques of the masters of the monasteries of a few thousand years ago. Now we have all the science, and we can see the data even for, you know, people that have a very strong like left brain hemisphere and they want to see the data. I really urge you to go and see the data. Is incredible. So for the global meditation that happened on the 4th of April, the data is there, and it's so amazing. There is a huge spike in the Schumann resonance, showing how really we can affect, you know, the field that we live in. And I would like to leave everyone today with this thought, you know, closing today's conversation with thinking a little bit about gardening. And gardening is all about putting a seed and then growing that plant and then receiving what you have put as a seed. So this is the reality we are living now, is our garden. This planet is our garden. So what we're receiving is something that we have put seeds for. So we can start sowing different seeds if we want. We have the choice, we have the free will to do that, and we have the power to make a different reality happen by sowing peace and health and harmony for ourselves and for whole humanity and the planet.
I'm so stoked. I'm so excited. You motivated me on 2 levels. Like on the one thing, actually start working with my lawn here. And the second is to truly acknowledge that, yeah, every of our thoughts, every of our emotions and convictions is an actual seed that started to blossom and to grow. And some of them to my own demise, and others to the best self of me. And yeah, beautiful, the garden thing. So just to round up everything we touched upon in a, I hope, conclusive and comprehensive way, taken from this magnificent picture that you just painted, Livian. I'm touched by this one sentence that just came to me. We are all just right now walking through the garden of our all co-creation, and are witnessing all the plants. That's it. We're just witnessing the plants we planted. And if we stop feeding them with water, they stop to grow. So just check out which types of plants on the metaphorical garden of our human existence you want to start to blossom, especially for our kids. Such a blessing conversing with you. I feel always excited and better after everything.
Well, same here. I'm super stoked, and these conversations just bring the best out of me, and it just helped me be in such a different frequency. Thank you so much. It was like an incredible experience again today, and I hope I see you soon again with the next episode.
Thank you as well. Thank you for calling me on it. It's like, hey girl, some time has passed. Gotta keep up our episodes. I love that. This is what you teach me. It's like how to be consistent. Calling me on my shit. I love that. And thank you for granting us with the themes and with the actual also left-sided data. We sometimes need to convince ourselves that yeah, shit is real. So, blessings, everyone. Talk to you soon. Much love.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.